What's good, everybody? What's good? We are here sitting down to do the whole week live for September 1st, 2022. We are going to do a weekly wrap-up show talking about the news that came out in cinema. It's actually not that big of a topic that we're covering here this week. I only picked three, and of the three, none of them are comic book related. So that's cool for the people who like to come around the channel and see me just talk movie news or just hear movie stuff that's unrelated to the comic book stuff. You're good to go here in today's little live stream because we are focusing on three little small pieces of news. You know, not a whole bunch of stuff happened that I feel was like worthy to be having a big discussion about. So pick those three topics and we're gonna jump into them here. And I think this week I'm gonna start breaking up into segments and throwing them up. If you do wanna hear some superhero news, if you are interested in hearing about the superhero topics, you can subscribe to the channel and check out the She-Hulk videos. Have one that is just finished rendering and we're gonna be uploading that right after we finish with the live here today. So it's gonna be a quick one, gonna be a fast one. Let's jump into the things that I picked to discuss, and we're gonna start today with the topic of a new sci-fi movie, and it's going to be starring Tessa Thompson, Joseph Gordon-Levitt, and the thing that really got me excited and wanted me to discuss this at all was that it's going to be directed, or at least I think it's going to be directed by Flying Lotus. Now, Flying Lotus is a name that a lot of people may not know. He's responsible for producing a lot of different soundtracks and, you know, being a part of the scores of different films. And he's only credited with being an executive producer on Yasuke, a Netflix show. The reason why I like I was about to call him Fly Low, but Flying Lotus is because he helps produce music from one of my favorite artists of Thundercat. So I really love Thundercat. I've been playing a playlist from him for probably about 2 years now. I've been stuck on the same set of songs, and you know, I expanded a little bit, picked up a few Flying Low tracks, and jumped into a few more like Bay Area acts that are just, you know, a little different from what I grew up, Southern hip hop rap, Houston stuff, New Orleans stuff. That vibe is so different, and to hear that Fly Low is gonna be a part of like a sci-fi thriller, a murder mystery, I just want to see what kind of sensibilities he brings to that type of project. Like, I've never seen him do anything as far as directorial. I think they said he did, let me check my notes. I think he did direct, yes, a film called Royal in 2016. I've never heard of it, you know, maybe it was a small independent thing, I'm not sure. But he produced that, and with him producing that, directing that, I know that he has, you know, a few credentials to his name, and I really liked the sensibilities, you know, with the Thundercat involvement, with the soundtrack to Yasuke, and knowing that those guys are kind of like me, or I'm kind of like them in the sense that I love the animated stuff, I love anime, those Eastern sensibilities when it comes to the show. I liked Yasuke a good bit. So I want to see what Fly Low brings to this. I like Tessa Thompson. I've been watching the Westworld. I actually got a bunch of those recorded already, and I'm just working on editing them down and putting those watch-alongs out. But I like her there. I like her in the MCU, and so I figured, hey, she'll bring decent stuff to this this Fly Low project. So I think it's called Ash. I don't know when it's set to film or go into production, but I'm looking forward to seeing it. I want to see anything that they bring us from that project. Let me know what you think, though. Have you heard of Flying Lotus? Are you into Thundercat? Do you think that combination of Tessa Thompson, Fly Low, Joseph Gordon-Levitt put together in a murder mystery, is that going to, like, does that pique your interest? Because it piques mine quite a bit, and I want to see it. Talking about that, though, we're going to shift the focus to a project that I don't want to see, really don't want to see this next story, and that is about the Eddie Murphy helmed Beverly Hills Cop 4, I think it is. Yeah, Beverly Hills Cop 4 is going to be going straight to Netflix. Horrible sign, straight off the bat. Don't like the fact that it's straight Netflix, straight to Netflix. Like, nah, it could be Netflix produced, but like go to the theater. Hitman's Bodyguard went to the theater. Do that. And the fact that we're doing another sequel for this 30 years later. I'm not a huge fan of the 30-year later sequels. I wrote some down, so let's go through them. We have Bill and Ted, came 17 years later. Don't think the reception was good. I thought about going to watch it. I didn't go watch it. Never heard anything positive nor negative about Bill and Ted after 17 years. I'm sorry, that was 29 years. My years was off. Bad Boys for Life was 17 years after Bad Boys 2. And it was all right. It was a decent little addition to that franchise. I like that franchise. They gave it a little bit of life, but I don't know how much more steam they got left in the tank for them. I kind of want to see them let that go. We have Coming to America 2. You can check the channel. Horrible movie. Hated Coming to America 2. Trashed it thoroughly. Did not enjoy it. 35 years after, and it was garbage to me. And I think the consensus was this was a very unfunny movie. You got The Shining and Dr. Sleep. 40 years between the two. I heard Dr. Sleep was like acclaimed. Critics liked it, but it didn't make any money. Blade Runner 2049. 35 years after the original, made no money. And I think the theme that you're seeing with these decades later sequels is that either it's not good, that's one, either it's not gonna be good, or two, is not gonna make any money. With this going straight to Netflix, it takes out the possibility of it like losing money or being a bomb and having that connotation with it, but there's still the issue, to me at least, that it's not gonna be good. Like, why are we doing this? Let that franchise be. And if you're gonna like bring it back, just don't. I think that's kind of where I fall on it. Just don't even touch it. Let some things just be. But the way Hollywood is, they can't. They have to let things, they have to use those IP. They can't just let something fade off into oblivion. They wanna put their hands on it again. So that's what they're doing with Beverly Hills Cop, and I'm not at all happy about it. I would very much like them to leave it alone. And talking about leaving things alone, let me know what you think. Do you think Beverly Hills Cop should be touched? Should that be something that people want to see more of or produce more of? Because it just doesn't, to me, the appeal is gone. Like, it's been years. Let it go. The third one wasn't even great. So just, let's not with Beverly Hills Cop. Let's let it go. But let me know what you think. And let's move on to the very last story, which is Yahya Abdul-Mateen. So I like Yahya. I like Yahya a lot. I like him in almost everything that I've seen him in. Matter of fact, now that I think about it, I like him in everything that I've seen him in. There's only one movie that he made recently that was kind of like in my wheelhouse with Ambulance that I wanted to go to the theaters and see, and I missed it. And I'm pretty sure I could watch it at any time that I want now, because my producer, he has this system set up to where I can just watch stuff. And I'm sure he can give me access to it if I wanted to see Ambulance. But I digress. The point is, what did Yahya Abdul-Mateen say? If you check the description of this video, he gave an interview with Yahoo Media, Yahoo News, I don't know. Somebody over there at Yahoo talked to Yahya Abdul-Mateen, and he quote unquote called Aquaman clown work. And it's like, if you just read that headline, that sounds horrible. That sounds like you don't like your experience working on these comic book properties. But it's like, I don't know if that's his true position or if it's just a poor choice of words. I truly believe, strongly feel that it's just a poor choice in words, and he just spoke freely, and he labeled comic book movies and those properties as clown stuff. But he's a traditionally trained actor, right? He takes his craft serious, right? So when he does a role, like, he wants to commit to doing something serious and something heartfelt and something real. So the idea of him putting on this big fish head with the glowing eyes that you see in Aquaman, it's like, he probably looks at that as like, yeah, this is a sideshow. This is not what I really want to do. And I understand that. But I think when you're speaking, you know, in a position of like, hey, you know, people look at you as Black Manta. The nerds of the world will look at that quote and say, ah, man, we don't like it. I don't think that there'll be any backlash as far as the films that he's in are concerned. And he understands that, you know, sometimes you have to do things that have more fanfare that go along with it in order for you to do your passion pieces, which are more like, the word he used was Tchaikovskyan, which I actually had to look up, which is like more poetic, serious, heartfelt, deep stuff. So I'm okay with the quote, but I think he could rub quite a few people wrong with the quote. What do you think about the quote? Him using that term of talking about comic book movies as clown work. I actually feel like that's not even a good way to see it, because one of the comic book properties that Yaya was involved in was the best show of 2019, which is the Watchmen series that came on HBO Max. If you haven't seen that, you need to see that. To me, that thing had so much heart in it that I'm like, how can you do that and see the product that was produced with that, but then later on call other comic book property stuff clownish clown work? Like, it's just maybe just, you know, real poor choice of words, not thinking about it all the way, because I know that Watchmen series, if you watch the whole thing and you feel it, like, man, that thing is deep, and there are parts of it that can touch you, like, emotionally. So I don't know. I think he just kind of spoke too freely and let that out. There was other news that dropped, and I didn't do a video on it yet. I was planning things out, but there's Dan Lin, from all reports, has been picked to be the new head of DC, and he answers to no one. He has full autonomy. He only talks to the man at the very top of David Zaslav, I think his name is. So there's a lot that goes along with that. I'm actually planning out a video, kind of like a wish list for Dan Lin, and once I do that, I'll throw that up. But I didn't comment on that. That was the biggest story probably that broke the day after I did the last whole week on Thursday. That came out, I think, on Friday. So look forward to seeing that video come out. Get your ideas together and leave me some comments on that one, talking about, hey man, if you could ask David Lin to do anything, or Dan Lin, if you could ask Dan Lin to do anything, you could make a list for him. What would your, say, 3-5 things on your list be? Because that's what I've been thinking about when I think about that story with Dan Lin. So that's it for this week, though. It's 3 topics, 3 real quick topics, talking about them. There's been other things, but I feel like those were the 3 most pertinent ones that I wanted to really discuss. Let me know your thoughts about any of those things in the comment section. Again, we're going to start breaking them off into sections and throwing them up. If you want to catch the short pieces, and leave comments there as well, or, you know, those suit you better to watch a shorter video. So that's all we got for this week. Enjoy yourself, guard your heart, and go watch something good.